Good morning, it's Jeremy. It's Tuesday, September the 19th. Today I'm looking at the Varioprop 6. This is a remote control unit that I purchased with a plane. And this is my remote control plane. I bought this in 1970. I was on a backpacking trip over in Europe with a friend. My friend was interested in museums and I was interested in hobby shops. So I purchased the plane, and about 3 years later I got the electronics for it. It took me quite a while to build the plane, so I was scared that I was going to crash it if I actually went out and used the RC controls. So it's basically been hanging from my ceiling, which I like. However, I thought I rekindled my interest, and I thought it would be interesting to look at how the remote control works. So what I've done is I've hooked it up. Originally it came with a battery, a cylindrical battery that went in here, but I haven't recharged it in 50 years, so unfortunately the battery doesn't work anymore. So I'm using a 12 volt lead acid battery there, and I've got my Picoscope here is my scope that I'm using, and I've got my signal hound, and I've got the scope probe connected to the antenna, and on the spectrum analyzer I just have a whip antenna. And I've got a Sony ICF 7600 here, where we can listen to the actual transmission. If I turn it on here, you can hear the hum. That's basically the PWM modulating the tone. The transmitter works at 27.145 megahertz in the CB band, and over here I'm looking at the Picoscope, and basically what we've got is a repeating burst of, there's one burst, a second burst, and a third burst, and a fourth burst. This is basically for carrier synchronization. This burst here is for the rudder control 1 and 2, and this second burst here is for the elevator 3 and 4, and the third burst here is for the speed control 4 and 5. So for instance, let's put the, I'm going to put the rudder control full over. Okay, so the rudder control was full over, and you can see that this first burst here is smaller. And let's go to the rudder control full over to the other side. And now you can see this first burst here is much thicker. So basically we're using pulse width modulation. Pulse width modulation is actually, I think, is one of the best modulation techniques. It's sort of a combination of analog and digital. It's digital in the sense that the carrier is either there or it's not there. So basically any noise in transmission, like amplitude noise and everything, you can strip off the carrier quite effectively, because the information is not in the amplitude, it's in the time displacement. So it's a very effective modulation technique, and I can see why it was used in remote control. So there we go. We've had a look at how this remote control unit works. I think in a future video I'll link it up with the actual receiver, and we'll see how it works with that, and we can simulate it as well. We can build the pulse width modulation signal in GNU radio or Psychos as a further thing to do.